Today, as the Express Engage, the episode number 8. So today we are going to cover the topic, which is very, very interesting topic. First, I would talk about the topic, and then I'm going to introduce the speaker as well. So the topic, it's the need and wants of the Indian aviation customer. So, whenever we talk, we talk as suppose I ask any customer, aviation passenger, if I ask him, suppose Air India Express is operating from the Gulf. If I ask him, what do you want? Then he'll say, I want to travel on the, just one day before in the evening, before the weekend, and the fare should be cheapest and this and that, everything, but right. But then we need to strike the balance. Of course, that's a customer demands, but how do we strike this balance between the airline and the customer? So it's quite an interesting topic, and we have with us today Ajay Awtaney. He is, if I'm not exaggerating, he is an authority on frequent flyers, loyalty. He's a fantastic reviewer. He does reviews on the airlines, hotels, dining. Then he writes a number of columns. He's written a number of columns. He writes columns in the CNBC TV 18. He features there. His notes or his articles are there in First Port, HT Mint, and he has got a fantastic digital platform which he had launched in 2011. That's the Live from Lounge. And it's a fantastic, it has got everything. It has got the reviews, it has got the experiences, it has got the deals available in the market, the news, like if any flights are cancelled or anything, it straight away it comes there. Any airlines are giving deals, any loyalty deals, he straight away there are deals available, and it's really fantastic. I've gone through that website. It's really good. And so we have Mr. Ajay today, and I will not take much of time myself. I would like to start the topic by putting first question to Ajay. Ajay ji, so today when a customer or passenger likes to book a ticket, so what does he look? What does he look for when he chooses an airline? What does he look for? If you can take us through that process.
Well, hello, Mr. Chaitya, and hello, Pravesh. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me over today. So, Mr. Sunil, like you were saying, what is the customer looking for, when they are looking to make a booking with an airline, choosing an airline? I think in my about 20 years on the road, I think we can filter it out to 3 or 4 very simple things, some of which you already address yourself. One of the first things that a customer is looking for is a network. For instance, there can be like your airline. Just to give an example, your airline would be a leading player on the India Middle East network corridor. Sorry, but it will not be, for instance, if I'm thinking of traveling from Delhi to Jaipur, I cannot think of Air India Express. So usually a customer is looking for an airline to largely fulfill all their travel requirements. So in which case, they're looking at an airline as a whole solution to their travel needs. So they want to look at the same airline to take them to all the places, because they don't want to be doing a new learning experience with a new airline at a lot of period of time. The second very, very simple requirement I think passengers have is largely on-time performance. A lot of times there are carriers, there are chronic delays in certain networks at certain airports. It might not be the airline's fault, but the thing is, the airline is the product that the customer paid for, and he or she will take out their anger or frustration on the airline, that this is a bad airline because it couldn't get me from place A to place B in time. So what they're looking for is largely an experience of on-time performance. One of the other things, and I guess you know it better than I do. They're looking for transparent pricing. So transparent in the sense that uh, I don't think customers fully appreciate that there is a, what we call unbundling going on in the industry, where every product or service is kind of sold separately. So what they usually want, at least what the new travelers want, the ones who are not maybe doing trips every second week or every very frequently, at least what they want is that they want to be paying one price in which they get uh, their ticket. They get so basically they get a seat on the plane. They get a certain amount of baggage allowance, and I would expect they hopefully, I guess, get a meal. I hope they know that on certain carriers they don't get a meal, and they basically look at all of this as a package, and then that's what I mean by a transparent pricing. So these are some of the things that in the Indian customer is looking for, I believe, when they're choosing an airline. Really.
Okay. Okay. So basically, you talked about network, you talked about pricing, uh, network, OTP, on-time performance. So all airlines are striving to get there, to get the one of the best OTP, and even the pricing wise, you will see that we are always, it's like a fight, always a fight. Like you can see 100 rupees less and 200-300 rupees here and there. You will always see, if it is low cost carrier or any other carrier, you will see, depending on the sector, there may be 200-300 rupees gap. So which is not much. So how, as per you, how should an airline differentiate? Like how can the airline create value? How do I tell my customers, passengers, that look, I may be 500 rupees expensive, but I am better. So what all an airline should do to this to do differentiation?
See, there is a very I'll make it sound very simple, hopefully, but it is not going to be very simple. And the thing is, at the end of the day, the product that you're selling, the service that you're selling, is a seat on a plane, right? So uh, the core differentiation really is that while a customer wants to go from place A to place B, and you will bring him or her there, uh, different people have different requirements on a plane. So, for example, a road warrior might just want to be left alone on a plane. He or she maybe just catch up on their sleep on the plane. But for somebody who's going on a vacation, he might want to be traveling on the same plane on the seat next to the road warrior, and he or she they want maybe to be able to buy, or if it's included in the price, get a bottle of alcohol. They want a good meal on the plane, because for them, they're going for a vacation. Similarly, a family who may be traveling on the same plane, coming back from their visiting their parents or so on and so forth, they might want a very different thing, which is where they are looking at the same airline on the same plane, providing them, hopefully, all three or four of them can sit together, and they can be in the um, seated together. So each airline customer has a different, you know, requirement. Now you can obviously look at all the data that generate through all your massive number of bookings that you go through. It's very difficult to obviously custom build a product to the requirement of each customer. But I think one of the big moves that is happening, at least it's happening in the West, and I hope in the next few years, we should be able to start seeing this in India as well, is big data and analytics being able to give you a more wholesome customer profile. It's going to be very hard, let's say, for a first time customer. Somebody's coming to you for the first time. It's going to be very hard for you to realize that this gentleman only comes to you maybe 2 times a year, and he's only traveling on a certain sector. But when you see the same guy on your aircraft maybe 20 times a year, you know that he's a frequent traveler. You know that he may or may not, for example, you might be serving meals, and you might know that he really loves a chicken tikka masala on his 8 hour long flight. So do you want to cater that meal specifically to make sure that he is not disappointed? That is somewhere where you can, differentiate yourself from another airline. So a lot of, I think a lot of digitization and a lot of analytics can be done on all the data that customers leave in and around us at all points of time. And at the end of the day, this will perhaps make it a differentiated service for customers at some point of time, where you can create at the end of the day, all that it takes to make a customer feel special is a one wow moment, during that trip. For example, you might be I was seeing a video some days back. It was floating all over the internet, where there was a new parent. There were new parents, and they were kind of struggling with having the kid go to sleep on the plane, and then they couldn't catch a nap themselves because of that. And then there was a very kind cabin attendant who just came around and said, "If you don't mind, I'll take the kid under my care." And I think the kid was maybe 3 or 4, don't remember exactly the age, but the kid and the cabin attendant were practically playing hide and seek on the plane, and the parents could manage to get a little bit of a breather. So it takes that one wow moment for customers to be looking at an airline in a favorable manner for the rest of their lives. So how do you differentiate? You basically either use your human crew, who obviously, given the tools and the responsibilities on a plane, they can't take away from the responsibilities, but they have their empathy, which can differentiate. And there is always the ability to look at data about a customer and figure out what he or she can potentially need on a plane, and make sure that you have that for them when they need it. So these are some concepts, I think, where airlines can really identify the different brackets of customers and differentiate between them, and how they can really create a wow moment for them.
Fantastic, Ajay. I mean, you raised 2 points which were really fantastic. One is that Google, the analytics part, which is really, really very important, and all of us have to get there. Actually, it's really fantastic. The moment we start analyzing, we have the analytics, and then we will know that today is Ajay's birthday, or today, I mean, what is his liking, and then obviously we want to, then we can serve the person accordingly, customer. And the second point as well, that's a fantastic point which you raised, is that moment of truth. It's a fantastic wow moment. So that's how we need to make the airline should make the difference. But when we say so this is yes, but what else, this is one, how we can differentiate. Anything else we can do to move the customers towards our airline, or anything else? I mean, any other thing which can be done so that because the competition is so fierce, and at times it's me too everywhere. So anything else which you think is can be done?
See, a customer is basically, a customer is in for aviation is a very finicky customer, right? You yourself mentioned how even for sometimes I believe 100 rupee difference, they will uh, change from one airline to another. India is largely a market where seats are at the end of the day, an airline seat is a commodity. So if it is not sold, it is a perishable commodity. So I think one of the going back to my earlier point, one of the first things a customer is earlier I said you need to be transparent about your pricing. What I'm now saying is eventually what a customer wants, I think he's always looking for a good deal. So again, one of the things that airlines can do is again use technology for some sort of targeted deals to customers. For example, I mean, and this you may see that there is a customer coming on, let's say, a 9:30 p.m. flight to, let's say, to between Mumbai and Dubai on your carrier, for example. Now, he's been with you, let's say, a few times before, and he usually books a meal, but this time he's not booking a meal. So, uh, do you want to send him a proactive message, let's say 3 days or 4 days before the flight? Hey, you forgot booking a meal. Do you want us to serve you a meal? Has the link, pay us whatever, 300 rupees or whatever the price is, and we'll make sure that the meal is there. So basically, or give it to him at a discounted price, say, hey, this one time only, we'll give it to you for 200 rupees. Click this button and book the meal with us. So that's one thing. They're looking for a good deal always. Okay. The second thing, they're looking. I think one of the big things that uh, COVID taught uh, us all, and this is a new thing that I think all airlines around the world are considering right now. Um, I know change fees are a very important part of the business, but how about, for example, an airline just eliminated change fee for good? This has happened. This has happened uh, across the developed world a lot. But yeah, and even in India, for instance, uh, you know, airlines are looking at it. Airlines are, doing it as a market stimulant. Like right now, I think uh, maybe 5 or 7 airlines are offering, if you book a ticket before 31st of January, you don't have to, when you make a change on the ticket, you don't have to pay a change fee. So how about making some of these features permanent? It could become a big differentiator for the airline who actually does it. For instance, in the West, Southwest used to do it, and now United and I think even Delta copied them. But it took the pandemic for them to realize that when you give a customer flexibility, he or she will want to stick with you as compared to, trade away from you. So those are some of the thoughts. Pro customer moves are basically what will keep an airline, uh, you know, uh, in a relationship with a customer. Otherwise, there's always the usual tools of the business. I see some of this data is already sitting for the customer, for you guys to analyze. In the sense, if an airline runs a loyalty program, they already have maybe 20,000 more data points about the customer as compared to the airline who does not run a loyalty program. But yeah, there's a lot of data already sitting around there. You just need to build a customer profile, and you should be able to um, determine what he or she really wants, and then do a customized targeting on the back of that.
That's so nice. Before we move further, I would like to invite questions. If there are any questions, people, if anybody wants to ask questions, please put in the chat box. Then I will be taking the questions. Ajay ji, one thing which we always, think uh, about India's aviation. So, is it like a future? What, as per you, what do you think? It is a low frill or a full service carrier? As per you, what is your opinion on this?
I think it is there is a market for everything, all business models in this market. There is, as we've seen this over the past decade and a half or 2 decades, that both models can really work here. Eventually, there is a customer, who is looking at getting from place A to place B, and all he needs is a seat on the plane. And I think that is a most of the new customers right now coming into India. And then there is a customer who, wants to uh, optimize his time on the air. So he wants to travel comfortably, and he wants to then be able to use his laptop to make his presentation for his next meeting, which will be once he arrives. And he wants to also be able to kind of use the Wi-Fi on the plane and so on. So he also wants miles for his ticket, so that when he has time for a vacation, he wants to be able to not pay for those tickets for his vacation, and redeem his family tickets on miles. So largely, India is a no frills market. I think we, at least on the domestic segments, India is a no frills market. But yeah, internationally, obviously, requirements are different. It's one thing to travel on a 4 hour long flight, 3.5, 4 hour long flight, without uh, buying a meal or kind of not having in-flight entertainment. But yeah, you can't do it for a 10 or 14 hour long flight. So they're making planes for that now. Let's see what products and services are built on those planes. But largely, yeah, it's a market where both business models flourish. There can't be like 20 full service carriers, but there can be maybe more no frills carriers coming into the market to bring people from A to B largely.
Thank you so much, Ajay. One thing which we always think, Air India Express is a low frill airline. But one thing which we keep thinking is this frequent flyer, loyalty. When you are an authority, you have written a number of reviews, number of on loyalty. There is a lot of input, a lot of things on your website as well, on your digital platform. So as per you, loyalty is it can be only for frequent, I mean, for a full service carrier, or a low cost carrier can also have a mileage, program, frequent flyer program.
See, it's a very interesting question you ask, Sushilji. There is no rule book that says that a no frills carrier cannot have a frequent flyer program. I mean, there are two or three things to always look out for. One is that a frequent flyer program has a cost attached to it at the airline end, because obviously you will have to account for keeping some miles, and then those miles or points or whatever you choose to call it, it will have some sort of a cost when you give the passenger free tickets or gift cards or whatever else on the back of that. That's one. But beyond that, and there's the cost of running the IT systems, which will eventually do that for you. But loyalty systems in no frills carriers, low cost carriers, actually exist. I mean, I would like to believe that for example, in the US, airlines such as JetBlue and Southwest, they all offer uh, loyalty programs. In India, one of your you know uh, peer airlines on the domestic segment, SpiceJet is a low cost carrier, but they offer a loyalty program as well. I think it's been a few years since they offer it, but now is when it has kind of become reasonably of scale. And then there's Fly Dubai, and then there's tons of examples of no frill carriers where loyalty programs exist. The question is, why do you want to do it? If you think it will help you, bring the customer a little bit more, and in the process, the customer will stick with you. At the end of the day, the word there is loyalty, right? So, if the customer will be loyal to you and you will be able to reward that loyalty, then you should definitely do it. And what will you get in the process is tons of data that usually might not be in one place. Now you'll be able to look at a customer in a more holistic manner and create a better profile and do better marketing to the same customer going forward.
That's, yeah. And the other thing which, before I take questions, about this Air India Express, as per you, you are an aviation expert. So as per you, what do you think Air India's Express's positioning is, and the way forward, like currently how we are positioned, and especially current period, and then COVID, and then future. What do you think? What is your opinion on this?
I think you guys run a fantastic operation, I guess, on the niche that you have, which is largely low cost on the India to outside India neighboring markets segment, and that's a fantastic niche. And obviously, I would say you guys do a fantastic job, because obviously most of the times you see full aircraft on Air India Express. How is it positioned for the future? Well, obviously, I would say do more of what you do, and obviously, there is, I think, there are so many more routes I imagine that can be opened up on India to neighboring markets, and there are always customers available at the right price point for all these markets. And yeah, I think COVID's been a blow to all of us, I guess, but COVID should be more looked at as a outlier as compared to, I know a lot of people say COVID basically will cause the travel industry to go bust, and people now love to do their meetings and everything on Zoom. Yes, I mean, look, in the case of an emergency, when I can't travel, I would be happy to do a meeting on Zoom. But at the end of the day, there's no human connection there. There's nothing. So obviously, I fully believe that people will get back to traveling when they can. I mean, if you just look at 1 month back, when domestic aviation had opened up, we were running at 85% occupancy. And I know that number has gone down right now because of the third wave, but when people can travel, people will travel. So obviously, if you keep, I would say, adding more routes and more services on some existing routes, I would imagine you should be able to garner more customers to, come and do business with you.
Okay, it's nice of you. I will like to take some questions.
Sure.
We have a question from Vimal. He works with us. He says, My question is, how much effective is big data analytics and data management when it comes to future of an airline? How important it is, that analytics part which you covered.
So I think these are just the I would say initial days, but what keeps a lot of airlines from going down that path is it's a lot of money to be spent upfront to build those systems, and hence, uh, I mean, I would like to. I think from my exposure to airlines and what I have seen is you guys work with tons and tons of disconnected uh, systems, right? There's a different system for passenger management. There's a different system for uh, scheduling. There is a different system for crew management, and so on and so forth. So, just imagine if you could just, uh, you know, take a fresh approach to the whole thing and combine um, everything into one overarching new system, which could last you for the next 20, 30, 40 years. I don't know when the next changes to technology will come. It will allow you to give a fuller perspective on, uh, you know, each employee, each customer. It'll be able to do predictions on, let's say me, Ajay travels uh, every Monday going from Delhi to Mumbai, and every Thursday or every Friday he comes back from Mumbai to Delhi. So yeah, well, let us uh, make sure that he kind of continues that. So 5 weeks in a row, 5 months in a row, he's done that. He's not turned up on the on a specific day. You might want to make sure that it is an aberration. It is not something that he really wants to. He maybe have moved on to another airline, or he might just have said, "Okay, let me take a break." You can send him an email and say, "Hey, we are holding a seat for you on your usual flight, which is AI 10X. And if you want to book the seat, maybe you forgot, maybe you were busy, you want to book the seat, go on and book it. You have like maybe 3 hours, we hold it for you." So, point is, you've made revenue in the process. So it's not just a cost center. Analytics will allow you to build customer profiles, and uh, you don't want to your customer profiling basically will allow you to sell to the customer, and that's why we are here, right? We are here to do business, and we want to make sure that we do business, and the customer um, gets the most as much as possible customer built service, so that it's a win-win for both parties.
Okay, the next question which has come up is it's from Vikrant. He's one of our route managers. He works with us. He says, how has COVID-19 affected the mindset of travelers for international travel?
I think from what I see is the people still want to travel internationally, but I think the reason they hold back is purely because there is a ever-changing requirement in terms of rules and regulations across borders. So that is what is holding people back at this point of time from traveling abroad. Uh, but yeah, I guess I think from July or August till about December, we had a huge window where a lot of people were uh, traveling abroad. So one of the things is to make sure that we open up our borders uh, before people start giving up on their passports. I would like to say maybe it's an idea to now have a more open policy for people to be traveling inside and outside the country, which is what some other markets are doing. And I hope that as soon as that can happen, people will, you know, uh, get back on the road again. Business is already being done. Business travelers are already traveling. Vacationers are traveling to some of the usual spots, which was in Europe or in Maldives, Dubai, so on. So people will travel. They're just what I think the one hiccup right now is this whole what if the rules change on the day of my travel or something that happens. So I think uh, as rules become easier, people tend to go to those destinations where rules will be easier. I mean, you'd see a lot of people going to Sri Lanka right now. You'd see a lot of people going to Europe or to Dubai right now. I guess that's the way it's going to be going forward.
In fact, the UK, I think today only they have announced they will have no mask, no COVID, nothing. They just today only I was watching a video. It's a
Yeah.
Prime Minister has just sent given a video there. The question is from Tara Naidu. She's our Chief Commercial Officer. She says it's on the loyalty again. So she says, do you think LCCs should go for loyalty programs considering the high cost of administration?
See, like I was saying, the high cost, loyalty programs can be, looked at as either cost centers or they can looked at as revenue centers. So if you look, once your loyalty program has scale, it can give you a world of, it's basically spending money on its own. And I know this is not an appropriate example, but for example, in the US, during the past 2 years, the valuation of the loyalty programs has been larger than the airline in certain cases. They're worth billions and billions of dollars. I'm not saying that it will happen on day one, but it can potentially happen once there are like a reasonable number of people who are operating on the program. So loyalty programs, definitely a great idea for any airline, as long as the airline can, support it for the first 2, 3, 4 years when you will still be not making money on the program, but will be, spending money to attract customers, to kind of, have them join you. I think once a customer makes their first free flight redemption, as I like to call it, that's when he or she is hooked. And after that, they believe in the system of miles and points, and that's when they want to, do more business with the same airline as compared to doing business with multiple airlines. I mean, look, the people who are coming back to you, even if they're coming back to you for $50 or $100 less, because you were a cheaper carrier, realize that if you did 10 trips with you, the 11th one could be free. So once they start learning those things, it makes sense for them as well.
Okay. The one question which has come up, some Miss A, how exactly does the big data help the airline with the changing market, especially with the COVID, where the past trends may not help in forecasting the present or near future trends?
See, I think there is always a variety of, data that is sitting all around us, right? In the sense, I wouldn't say if past trends have gone all out of the window. I think past trends have been just not been useful for the past few months. To give you an example, for example, Port Blair will still be a summer destination, and I would like to believe Leh will still continue to be a winter destination. You can't change a lot of those things. So those seasonalities and all those things will continue to be there. But Coming to the part of how big data will be able to see, big data is eventually not about large scale decisions. Big data is more about taking a million small things and then coming to that one or two or five big things that matter. So, for example, uh, you might be an airline who might be doing a lot of uh, taking a lot of people. I know you're a point to point carrier, but for example, you may be taking a lot of people on Delhi, Coimbatore, Singapore, and maybe 80% of your passengers are Delhi, Coimbatore, Singapore, rather than Delhi, Coimbatore, or Coimbatore, Singapore. So now, do you want to, you know, for example, take Coimbatore out of the mix and launch a new flight which goes directly between Delhi and Singapore? So that's one example, of uh, big data in network planning, for example. Then let's say I think I said amply about specific customers being targeted with specific offers. For example, a customer, uh, for example, they like weekend shopping. So uh, what if you sent them an email on Monday saying, hey, you know what, you can there are seats available on a flight on Saturday. What about a weekend shopping trip or outing to Dubai? So sending an email costs you nothing. Building the system will cost you money, obviously, but sending that email costs you next to nothing. So, uh, you know, not only will I think data lead you to making more judicious decisions on what routes to fly, what the customer wants, but it'll also help you sell ancillaries. For example, I mean, uh, one of your uh, one of your peer airlines in India has a sandwich which is very popular, and at that point of time, you know, uh, they run data analytics to see how many sandwiches should be they be putting on each and every flight. So yeah, during COVID, obviously nobody buys them, so now they move to pre-booking, but they know that each flight should be able to should have at least maybe 20, 25, or 30 sandwiches. If it's a morning flight, they will not sell. On an afternoon flight, they'll be able to sell 30 sandwiches. So um, that is the kind of data that big data will be able to project for you, so that you can make more uh, decisions which are not like taken on Monday for Friday, but more at 6 p.m. for a 10 p.m. flight.
Yeah. One question which has come is, Dear Ajay, what is your personal story? What made you live from a lounge?
Well, my personal story is, I've been, work took me places, and I think at a point of time, I realized there was no resource covering aviation in India. So, yeah, started out, and heavier. It's been about, I think we complete 11 years this July. So, yeah.
Welcome questions from many other viewers. We can take some more questions. One question which has come, Ajay, is with Akasha and revamped jet, what will be Indian civil aviation in the coming years? Are we going to see large-scale price cuts?
I think, pricing in India is already some of the lowest in the world. If you look at it more in a dollar terminology, I think, you can fly, for example, for about $50 between Delhi and Mumbai, which is very cheap. I would like to believe, or like Delhi, Bangalore, 15 days out, you can fly, you can book a ticket for about $60-70. So you I think there is no room for more price cuts beyond that, I think, at this point of time. So yeah, but I think, at least from what I hear, at least Akasa is trying to build a differentiated network. They don't want to do more Delhi Bombays or more Delhi Calcuttas, but they want to do maybe more uh, Delhi Bhopals and Bhopal Hyderabad and those kind of city pairs. So I'm hoping that they will be able to obviously charge a premium for unique routes, and in the process bring up their average revenue. And I guess all the other airlines will also be happy that there's one less competition to come. With the Jet 2, I think it's anyone's guess about what business model will they have. Will it be still a full service carrier? Will it still be will it become a low cost carrier? So we really don't know about what will they become. But yeah, there will be more choices, which means obviously airlines need to kind of make more efforts to retain or get a new customer on board. And I think most airlines in India run very differentiated styles of how they run their airlines. So if somebody is choosing on the back of that, they usually go back to what they like.
The one question which has come from Hemant Sai, he is our route manager, works with us. He says, as people are becoming more sensitive about data privacy and ad personalization, how would they feel if airlines also sends them personalized ads for them?
See, personalization does not mean that there's a human sitting and sending those emails, right? It's not like
Systems.
It's not like there is somebody in catering sitting and looking at rafts and rafts of data every morning, saying who can buy my sandwich and who'll buy my omelette. At the end of the day, these are all, they will perhaps run a query. Who's the guy who ordered a sandwich the last 20 times and has not ordered today? I mean, that's how the system works, right? So these are all automated things. These are not so you are leaving behavioral clues behind. You're not saying or you can also go into, let's say, into your profile and say, I only like non-veg meals and so on. But basically, when you're sharing data or sharing behavioral clues, people are attempting to market to you basis that. I believe that is better to try and sell a paneer sandwich to a vegetarian and a chicken sandwich to a non-vegetarian, rather than the other way around, where you're definitely not making a sale, and you perhaps even going to, the customer is going to go back saying, hey, I'm a vegetarian, why the hell is this airline trying to sell me a chicken sandwich? I'll not fly with them anymore.
It's true. One question which has come is from Sarvesh. He says, do we need to invest in loyalty, or can we get same data points from mobile app?
See, I would say I don't know, and this is my perspective. I would imagine you have better data on this. I don't think the data, the mobile apps of Indian Airlines are half as much there as the potential exists. So at the end of the day, they're not interchangeable. The app allows you to book and manage bookings, and perhaps show boarding passes and change bookings at the last minute if needed. But that's where all the airlines in India stop. It's not like they will tell me uh, what more can we do really with those apps. So if you're looking for data points and behavioral patterns, uh, so on, I would say you have to have a mix of both. It's not one versus the other, because at the end of the day, the fact that uh, I fly Bombay, Delhi, maybe um, 40 times a year is sitting in some system. On each flight, I'm meeting a different station manager. If I'm meeting a station manager, that is because they're organized by shifts. I'm meeting a different crew on each flight. It's not like those people remember, but somewhere inside a system, everything is being captured, right? That Ajay travels Bombay, Delhi, or Delhi, Bombay, or whatever else on Monday morning. And yeah, perhaps you can use that information to kind of, do something for me that will always remain with me and will perhaps make me choose your airline as compared to somebody else. What if there is a day where, for example, let's say uh, I don't have a seat on the plane because somebody bought all 178 seats on the plane, or it was a very busy day, so I went to a different airline and I booked my seat there and I decided not to come back. What if you sent me an email 2 days later saying, sorry, we couldn't accommodate you on the plane, here is a 20% discount voucher, we hope to see you again. Those are kind of things, they're not interchangeable. I think they all work with each other.
That's right. I think it's already 4:52, but we'll take one question which has come.
Yeah.
It's slightly different from, we are talking about more on the passengers, but this is a bit, says how India could be a major hub for MRO. That's maintenance and repair overall, engineering wise. In the Asian region, can India be a good MRO? Somebody's
I think
question from Midhun.
Lost you there.
The question asked is, can India be a major hub for MRO in the Asia region?
Yes, I think, India can be a major hub. In fact, we do some good work. I think a lot of what is holding us back is, at the end of the day, there are a lot of financial policies that govern where planes go for maintenance and so on. I think we still need to work on some of those policies, like uh, GST and these other things. At the end of the day, um, just like any other business, everyone has choices, and they will send their planes for maintenance wherever it becomes cheapest for them. So I think there's a little bit of a taxation burden there in India at this point of time, as and a little bit of a confusion around import-export rules and so on and so forth. But yeah, if we can solve those things, give it a few years, why not? India can definitely do a lot of good things in MRO as well.
Nice. So I think we are done with the questions, Ajay. I mean, we don't have any more questions, and it's already, time is also over. So anything else, Ajay? Anything as your closing remarks? Anything if you want to say to us as closing remarks or something?
Well, I think I'll just leave you with my thoughts that I think there are a lot of the aviation market in India is obviously full of potential. I think we're just kind of scratching the tip of the iceberg right now. I think there's so many more people who will still switch from trains to planes, and people who see the convenience of traveling by planes obviously want to experience it more and more. So I think this market is set to grow over the long term, and eventually, I think yeah, keep doing the good work, everyone, and please. Please accept my compliments, because I imagine it's not a easy business to be in, and I think I'd like to thank all of you from the fraternity to be being good to people like me who are customers, and we can be difficult sometimes.
Thank you so much, Ajay. Thank you so much for coming as a speaker on our Air India Express platform, and really it's appreciated. I am 200% sure that our employees and the people who have watched, they would definitely benefit from this. And we wish you all the best, Ajay. And thank you so much for coming once again. And
Pleasure.